is Fantasy Tomorrow. Welcome back for week 2 of fantasy football. We are going to be doing things a little differently now. We have decided to go on ahead and instead of doing one super long video, break it up into a few short ones so we can cover our categories a little bit better and provide you guys with more information to help take you to the championship. As always, my name is Jaden, and we have our self-proclaimed fantasy football expert Caleb Henley on the line. Okay, so hey Caleb, we are going to be talking about week 2 sits and starts, which I'm sure you already knew. Go on ahead and starting it out. Which players do you see as must starts for week 2 besides the obvious? And T. Kels, gonna say.
Yeah, definitely start Kelsey. I'll leave it at that. But 4 other players I really like a lot. One's Jonathan Taylor. He's running back for the Indianapolis Colts. With teammate Marlon Mack unfortunately suffering a season-ending injury, Taylor finds himself in a prime position to get the majority of the running back touches for the Colts. Now, they faced the Vikings in week 2. The Vikings gave up 158 rushing yards to the Packers last week, so Taylor's a great option for you. Anthony Miller of the Bears is another great option. He seems to have a good connection with Mitchell Trubisky, so I like him a lot. He should have a solid game against a bad Giants defense, especially since Allen Robinson, his teammate, is going to attract most of the Giants' attention. So I like Anthony Miller quite a bit. And then John Brown, he's wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills. Now, a lot of people don't really know him because he's not very flashy, but he's super safe. All he does is produce fantasy points. So if you can have him on your team in your starting lineup, I'd go for it because he's about one of the safest plays that you can have. He should have a good game against the Miami Dolphins. And then also Ronald Jones. Ronald Jones plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's their leading back right now. So he got most of the carries in week 1 going against the New Orleans Saints. So he should continue that going up against a bad Carolina defense who just gave up 34 points to the Raiders in week 1. So I expect the Bucs to blow out Carolina, for them to get up early, and then for them to control the clock with Ronald Jones receiving a lot of rushing and running carries. So you should definitely start Ronald Jones in your lineup.
Okay, so now that we have starters, which people do you see as must-sits for week 2?
So to must-sit, some players I really don't like for this week. One's Carson Wentz. Now, you probably drafted him to be your starting quarterback, but he had a bad game in week 1. He was sacked 8 times by Washington, and now he's going up against Aaron Donald, the best pass rusher in the league, and the rest of the Rams' defensive line. So I expect Wentz to get pummeled yet again, for him to have a bad game, and just because the Eagles lack a lot of their offensive weapons right now due to injury, I just don't see a high upside for Carson Wentz. Robbie Anderson, too, I don't think he's going to have a really great game. He broke out in week 1, but now he's playing against the Saints, or he's playing against the Buccaneers, rather. And the Buccaneers, they limited the Saints receivers in week 1. So I don't think Robbie Anderson's going to have a great game. I think that he's better served on your bench for this week. Maybe start him in another week or 2. All of the Lions running backs you can avoid for the moment. They're in a bad 3-headed timeshare. Adrian Peterson actually is the one that got most of the work for the Lions in week 1, but that could change any week. So I expect DeAndre Swift to eventually separate himself from the rest of the running backs in Detroit, but that hasn't happened yet, and until that happens, I'm just not comfortable playing any of them. And also, all the Dolphins running backs find themselves in a similar situation. They're in a very evenly split timeshare. Myles Gaskins, who none of us knew before week 1, he actually performed the best out of all of the Dolphins running backs, but he didn't produce a whole lot. They're going up against a good Bills defense that only gave up 52 rushing yards in week 1. I don't think they're going to do anything at all in week 2, so avoid them. And then another running back I want to avoid is Malcolm Brown. Now, that's kind of surprising because he broke out in week 1. He was great, but he still finds himself in a timeshare, and we just don't really know how he's going to look. And he's going to get up against a defense that only allowed 80 rushing yards in the Eagles. So I don't really think that Malcolm Brown will do any or break out in the same way that he broke out in week 1. I think he's better served on your bench. You probably want to see a little bit more production from him to know how to proceed going forward.
Okay, well, Dolphins and Lions, you better watch out because it looks like you're getting on Jets level on Caleb's list. So, I'm
Yeah,
just
they're
saying.
getting close.
You better step up your game, bud. Okay, well, I think that's pretty much it for Starts and Sits this week. Thank you, Caleb, as always, for your time. My name is Jaden, and that was Caleb. If you're interested in your Week 2 best flex options, please go ahead and click on our next video. And this is Fantasy Tomorrow, giving you the information so you can learn today and win tomorrow. See ya!